I've been a 911 operator for about 6 years now. People tend to ask me what the most disturbing call I ever got was. In my case, a collection of them deserve that title. Around the time I started my career, there were some strange murder cases. People have been found dead with bizarre wounds on them. Police described the injuries as if something small and hot shot through the victims. But the weirdest thing is that these murders have been happening worldwide. The FBI believes that an international crime syndicate is behind these murders. Being a rational person, I thought the same thing, but one disturbing incident proved me wrong. I should start by explaining that my shifts end at 10 p.m. I get to and from work by bus. The nearest bus stop to my workplace is a 20-minute walk. I'm telling you this because my story wouldn't have happened if not for this. I was heading to the bus stop after another shift when I felt like someone was watching me. I always keep pepper spray on me whenever I leave my house. At the time, I was wearing a jacket. The pepper spray was in the jacket's right pocket. I placed my hands in my jacket pockets, grabbing the spray just in case. There was a park between my workplace and the bus stop. I was walking past the park when I saw someone. There was this person in the park, walking in the same direction as me. They were too far from the streetlights for me to see their features. I could tell the person was an adult with a hood covering their head. Whoever it was didn't seem to notice me. Regardless, I had to keep my guard up. I didn't feel safe until I was on the bus. Since the stranger didn't follow me, I was convinced that they weren't after me. A few days passed and I forgot about the incident. But one night during my shift, I got a call from someone in my neighborhood. I didn't know him, but we lived on the same street. I'll call him Rick for the story. Rick claimed that a dangerous person was stalking him. He said that someone named Exdominus was going to kill him. Confused, I asked who Exdominus was. According to Rick, Exdominus is a bloodthirsty entity who travels the world in search of victims. Her murder weapon is a ray gun too advanced to be from Earth. She also wore a red metal mask that covered her whole face save for her golden eyes. Rick begged me to send the police. I never believed in urban legends. Still, I had to send a unit to Rick's house. Mythological being or not, it was my duty to help him. I told Rick to lock himself in a room and hide. Rick locked his bedroom door and hid in his closet. I tried to calm Rick down as we waited for the police. Suddenly, I heard a loud bam coming from the call. I realized that someone was trying to break into Rick's room. There were a couple more bangs, followed by what sounded like the door being busted off its hinges. My heart raced as I heard Rick's bated breath. I'm not sure how long we've been like that. Every time I was in a moment like that, time seemed non-existent. Suddenly, I heard one more bang, followed by Rick's scream, then silence. There was another sound between the bang and the scream. It was like the laser cannons on a starfighter from Star Wars. However, it was more brief and high-pitched. I tried to pinpoint the source when the call got disconnected. You don't have to be a genius to know it was the killer. I couldn't process what had just happened. I was in the break room when Lisa, one of my colleagues, asked if I was alright. I told her about Rick and the weird noise I heard. When I described the sound, Lisa's face went pale. She told me that it was Exdominus' ray gun that I heard. Please tell me that you don't believe in that myth, I groaned. Lisa said that she'd seen Exdominus. Not in person, but through her brother's security footage. Lisa had a brother named Johnny. His house had security cameras in every room. One day, Lisa received the news that her brother had been killed in his own home. When the police reviewed the security footage, they were shocked by what they'd found. They started at around 11 p.m. Since Johnny was still awake, the living room lights were on. Someone dressed in black punched through the living room window, shattering the glass. They then unlocked the window and opened it. Someone dressed in black crawled through the window. A red metal mask covered their whole face. The intruder pulled a gun out of their holster before creeping around the house. Based on the footage, the police confirmed that it was an adult woman. Johnny was in the shower when the break-in occurred. The bathroom was on the second floor of Johnny's house. He couldn't hear anything between the running water and the window being downstairs. The intruder must have heard the shower because they went straight to the bathroom. The door was wide open. As soon as the intruder reached the bathroom, she fired at the shower, killing Johnny. The police zoomed in on the firearm to identify it. However, nobody had a clue as to what it was. The weapon looked like a red handheld gun, but with a more futuristic look, as the police put it. The footage of the murder was on the news the following day. Lisa showed me the video on her phone. The killer looked like the one Rick described. Even the sound of the firearm in the video matched the one I heard in that call. This woman matched Exdominus' description to a T, but there's one thing that the video and 911 call couldn't prove. If this was the real deal, how can we tell it's a mythical being? As far as I was concerned, it was some lunatic impersonating Exdominus. I told Lisa this and asked if she was sure that it was her. Lisa admitted that she didn't believe it either, but then she did some research and shared her sources with me. After my shift, I looked into the sources Lisa emailed me. There were a few amateur videos of Exdominus. The first video was in a forest and pointed at the sky. According to the description, the person recording was waiting for the monarch butterfly migration when something else flew by. It moved so fast that I had to pause the video to examine it. The video's quality was poor, but I could see Exdominus. The wings were big and black, kind of like a dragon's. The second video took place at a warehouse at night. Whoever recorded this one used a camera with night vision. I can't say too much about what was in the description because it might cause legal problems. Let's just say that some politician, which we'll call John, was involved in illegal activity. This warehouse was where John did his dealings. The cameraman was somewhere high and hard to detect, like a cliff or something. At least this video's quality was better than the last one's. Anyway, some gangsters were hanging around the warehouse. John then pulls up and exits his car. The camera was too far to pick up what anyone was saying. The camera then moved upward and something came flying toward the warehouse. When it landed on the roof, I recognized it as Exdominus. John and the gangsters noticed her and drew their weapons. Exdominus stared at the gangsters as one of them shouted at her. A few seconds later, the gangster who spoke shot Exdominus. The assassin didn't go down as I'd anticipated. The gangster fired a few more rounds and she was still standing. At this point, John and the gangsters were getting scared. Exdominus drew her ray gun and started firing at the gangsters. Everyone began to scatter, trying to get as far away as possible. One by one, the gangsters were shot down. During the chaos, John got into his car and drove away. After killing the last gangster, Exdominus' wings sprung out and she flew in the same direction as John's car. I sat there, stunned by what I'd just seen. I googled John, and sure enough, he was killed that night. I then read the articles which renowned mythologists wrote. From what I'd gathered, Exdominus is a vengeful spirit who only kills bad people. Murderers, gang members, corrupt officers, you name it. By the end of my research, my skepticism was waning. But there's one thing that kept bugging me. If Exdominus is some being of retribution, then why was Rick killed? I got my answer a few days later. It turned out that Rick was a burglar who stole from houses in different neighborhoods. Suddenly, I remembered something from previous work shifts. For a week straight, I received a call about a burglary every night. The news confirmed that Rick was behind those burglaries. When the news gave the dates of Rick's crimes, I came to a disturbing realization. One of Rick's burglaries happened the same night I saw that figure in the park. I felt my heart sink as I realized that it was Exdominus. For the record, I've never broken the law. The worst thing I've ever done was a fist fight with my old school bully. Other than that, I'm a pretty okay guy. I don't know where Exdominus is now. Sometimes I think I see her hiding in the shadows. To anyone who's reading this, please be careful at night. Sure, they say that Exdominus only kills bad guys, but what if that's not entirely true? If you see Exdominus, run. You never know what someone is truly capable of.